Righty-ho. Now, this is important. No identification in any way. I've just made an introductory video to explain why. Now, so quick, right. Oh, I thought there was a bench. Okay, so I found my blue hat. I hate my black hat. This blue hat's much nicer. God, it was stuffed down the side of my mattress. But I mention this, having sort of slightly gone into a mode of, right, let's try and do just a last gasp bit of communicating 3 weeks ago. No, I have spent so much time, wasted so much time. I didn't even have time, although I give myself a few hours to walk and stuff, didn't have time to find my hat. Now, don't really need it today. I'm only putting it on as to make a point. Is that the bench there? Huh. Oh well, doesn't matter. Right. Now. Oh, there it is. Right. Okay. So, this thing that I can't think of a better word at the moment. Mermism. Now, I'm in disguise, please note. Okay, if you're thought a walker, you're like tolerated. Mermism. Now, I'm going to define it beautifully. Exactly what and why, what it is, why it's an issue. I should have some photographs with this. If I forget, there's a van up here with yet another picture of a bee on the back, happily buzzing around, and it's got some life-affirming message above it. I've got to try and, if it's there, I'm going to take a picture of it. But I've got quite a few of them. The bees, let's be crystal clear. B-E, right. Mermism. Probably even she's stuck with this mermism. You could also call it, I'm a snide bitchism, or I wouldn't dare say that. So, I'm a precious princessism. I think that's kind of more what it is. Right, but stick with me a minute. Now, I'm in National Trust land. Okay? I've spent an hour chatting with two wonderful young men who have the contract today. They're spraying all over here, as they will be for the next couple of weeks, with a chemical. And in their own words, it's banned from next year. Now, I'm going to weave into this very quickly, although this does need to be turned into, I'm going to turn this into 10 pages. Right, on the 1st of May, I think it was the 1st of May, yeah. I was sitting with a wonderful woman, architect from London. Well, Yorkshire originally, pregnant, due in 6 weeks. Now, I believe this woman, and that's the business of having kids. I believe we were having a bit of a debate, a riff, because in terms of watercourses, etc., terrible building standards have been the problem, one of the major problems for many, many years. So she was telling me how, and I was talking about, you know, nothing should be fucking built unless it's guaranteed to be there for 50 years at least, and not need a coat of paint. So she was telling me how in London the building regs have been so tightened up. But here's the key line, she said. Here's the key line. So she's an architect. I didn't actually hear which practice she was working for, but her husband, who was, I assume he was her husband, the father of the bump, he happened to work for my best child friends practice. And she said that the architects in London, they try and better the standards. They try and actually do better than what are the minimum standards. Keywords, you know, that's all you need to know. That's moral, that's ethical, that's, I think she was 35 or 6 or something like that. That's her acting in the best interest of her bump. Now, unfortunately, one of the, I'm just going to actually walk up the path because there's some people coming. Right, the environment. Now, I'm in the environment, even if it's actually this bit owned, managed by the National Trust. 2 young men are spraying, and they've explained to me, because I can speak to country people, I can relate to them and get them on my side, and there's nothing, this is no criticism of them as individuals. Relatively speaking, they're better than the average person I will speak to dealing with the environment. So they're spraying. They're using a chemical. I've actually seen the chemical. Roundup Pro. I think it's Advanced Pro, or definitely Roundup Pro. In their words, it's banned from next year. So, what the fuck are the National Trust doing? And they're doing a lot of spraying. What the fuck are the National Trust, who, like the woman from the practice in London, should be looking to better minimum legal standards? This stuff kills bees. There are many bees who are going to be, even with the most careful spraying, and I know that's what these young men are doing, there are going to be hundreds, thousands of bees killed, and so many other insects. Now, this is what mermism is. What am I calling it? Sweet sensitive princessism. Now, over 20 years, I have made it my business to try and get allies who are environmentally aware. In a couple, single people aren't much use in anything. They're fearful, neurotic, whatever. Even though they prance around here, so many of them saying, "Oh, I live the perfect life because I am my own autonomous, lovely self, and I have all the right clothing from Salt Rock or whatever the fuck it is, and, you know, tie-dye, etc." Right. You've got to home in on couples. And if you're homing in on couples in the environment, oh, we got one of them coming over, she will take the lead. Of a couple in the countryside, she will take the lead, whatever that is. In other words, if you've had several cups of coffee with them. Motherly, or just the way the culture is at the moment, the sexual politics, whatever. Or maybe he is doing something a little bit more whatever. Right. Now, the purpose of having allies is, I needed to, if I had allies, I'm never going to have any allies here, it's the most atomized, selfish, absurd place I've ever known in my life. But back in the old spot, this is what your allies are for. Get on the bone, get on the text, get on the email straight away. Right, can we arrange a mass emailing phone call to the National Trust saying, and it also has to be more women than men, because if they get lots of ranty blokes at them, they won't do anything, right? Email out, what on earth are you doing? Using a chemical that's going to be banned next year, and we all know is poison, as do the operators. They've told me. Right. That's what you need your allies for. But that's what you're building friendships for. Now, before we talk about any women, okay, in 2018, yes, I cycled up to the Ludlow Green Fair, and on the way up I noticed it was in August. I went there specifically for one reason, and she was there, bizarrely, but I never managed to get her to be an ally. Was it 2017? It may have been 17, it just may have been 16. Doesn't matter, I've got a wonderful film of her, quite by accident. But at that, I spoke to Gordon Kopock of Kington Local Environment and Energy Network. Please note the word environment. And I said to him, Gordon, as I'm cycling over, I think it was the 10th of August, there's lots of hedges that have been illegally cut early. can we arrange something on this? Yeah, and this is 3 miles out of, 6 kilometres out of Kington, it started. Simon. Yeah, and he's there getting public love with an eco bike. Simon, you make the mistake of thinking we're an environmental organisation, which is what they get charity money for, a break on their kind of all sorts of things. And then they actually get charity money, essentially. Not directly, but in roundabout ways. Now, that's mermism, but new mermism is even worse, because Gordon was always smiley and quite enjoyable. New mermism, I've got 30 or 40 people. Let's imagine that this had happened, oh no, it's constantly happening back in the last region, by the River Wye. Okay, let's imagine I was standing by the River Wye today, and dozens of those, maybe him, but more likely her, over the years I've connected with and spent time with, and we may have actually connected like they and her bloke doing theatre about the environment. We may have connected over a slightly different thing, but they're there. The point, the thing you have to be an environmentalist is wily and have your network, like, so that today, if this was by the River Wye, I could be, hey, you guys, right, we gotta stop this now. And it would work if there were enough, if there were people who are nicer and more kind of comme il faut than me, it would work. But every single one for 10 years, 15, if I communicate with them, I know full well, and it's nothing to do with me, I actually have got more communication out of them than most people. But it's basically, deep down, it's, well, you don't quite have the same approach to life as us. You don't, you know, you can say, I make a joking phrase, you don't do quite the same yoga as we do. You don't have the same approach to every day must be chanty mindfulness as we do. We don't really like you. We're not going to be compañero with you. They make it about their feelings about the person rather than thousands and thousands of bees getting killed, and furthermore a really easy target, you know. And targets, that's not cynical. You are the National Trust. You've probably got Prince fucking, no, he's the king now as your fucking patron, you know, all of that lovey time over these years, and you are not adhering to better than minimum standards. It's a fucking disgrace. But that's what you need your mermaids or merms for. But mermism is, nobody would just say, yep, got it, right, action, thanks, well done you, got any photos? Yes, I have, but I don't dare post them up. I don't dare do anything with them. Because you've got to have your allies, because if they know there's just one of you, they'll attack back. That's what it is. Have I forgotten anything? I don't think I've forgotten anything, but that is a perfect definition. And actually, in the last year, not 11 months, I have got 10, 15 actually 20, mainly women, who, in my pocket, so to speak, in my contacts, who say they're really committed to the environment. If I message one of them today, not one of them would even reply. That's what mermism is, you know. It's just, and that's how I've spent the last, particularly 10 years of my life, attempting straightforward. I mean, only occasionally, only once every year or two do you see something that clearly needs intervention. You know, do they believe in a fucking interventionist fucking Buddha? You know, I mean, that's what's happened. It's all, well, it's not quite how the Buddha would do it. Yeah, and the Buddha got fat. Ergo, that's a good line, that. The Buddha got, oh, I like that. I've been looking for that line for about 20 years. Right, I'm just going to forget the world exists.